Hi, welcome or welcome back. My name is Brittany, and this is my Lapvona reading vlog. So I put on this dress. I was trying to look like a peasant, like a villager. I'm committed. Lapvona is the next book in my Weird Book reading series. I felt like I wanted to kind of give my review, talk about the book, what it's about, and some of the content warnings up front. And then if you want to stick around, if you don't mind spoilers, I'd love to have you. I spoil everything in this book because I could not talk about spoilers. I tried at the beginning, but ultimately things were too wacky to keep to myself. I had to share. This book is by Ottessa Moshfegh, and this follows the town Lapvona and the villagers in it. It follows our characters over the course of seasons, starting with spring. This book follows a kind of wide cast of characters. We start off with Merrick, who is the disfigured son of shepherd Jude. We follow Jude, we follow Ina, who is the town wet nurse. We follow Lord William. So Lapvona is a town with the manor up top that Lord William lives in, and he looks down on the town and is like the lord of the manor and of Lapvona. We also get like Lisbeth the servant, the priest. We get so many different characters in this story. So while we are following this large cast of characters, what really sets this off is the death of Lord William's son. So we see how that plays out. This village is also very interesting. It's very brutal. It's very harsh. I mean, it's kind of like your typical village that you might read about in history, or even just like European style fantasy stories. You know, you're carrying your water, you have your farm, like you go to church on Sundays. They are all very religious, and that is a strong theme throughout the novel as well, is I need to suffer, and those that suffer more are in higher standing with God, and that drives a lot of their choices and decisions. There's also the theme of the wealthy thriving while the poor struggle. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into this book. I really loved how Ottessa Moshfegh wrote this novel. I loved just how icky everybody was. I loved how everyone connected, because when you get those other people's backstories, you really see this like thread of like, if they would have done this and then that, and then like you start to see how everything comes together. With that being said, there's a lot of content in here that is also part of why I just want to talk about it. There is sexual and physical abuse and mental abuse of every kind to adults and children, and it's icky. Like, it's icky to read about. There's animal gore. I mean, like, people are hung and disemboweled. There was cannibalism, which I thought was a fun surprise. But when this is talked about as a weird book, I feel like people don't talk about why it's weird. And so I just want you to know what you may be getting into before you pick this up, because I know it's kind of trending, like, you know, you start to see things online, but the back doesn't really, I feel like, give an idea of everything that's in this book. So with all that being said, I loved it. I thought this was fun. I thought it was a trip. I was like equal parts horrified, but also like squealing, because I'm like, oh my God, what am I reading? And I like, if this is already your vibe, if this is a genre that you tend to gravitate towards anyways, I think you would really enjoy it. But if you're new to weird books, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work for you. So this worked for me. Please enjoy my reading vlog, my reactions. I talk spoilers. I like ruin the entire book. So if you don't want any spoilers, now is your time to head on out, and I will see you in the next one. And if you're sticking around, let's get started. Hi, welcome back. My name is Brittany, and this is another weird book reading vlog. I think I'm gonna try to bang out Lapvona in like 3 days if I can. I have a party I'm hosting this weekend, a little girls' weekend, and so I don't know. I'm feeling like time pressure to like get books read, like projects done, like get it together. So I have a couple days before that happens to like clean the house, catch up on some rave projects, and then I think I could get this done. It's only about 300 pages. Depending on how fast or slow it reads, like I could probably do 100 pages a day, if not a little bit more. So I would really like to start that today. But yeah, we're just gonna eat some little breakfast, have some coffee, read a couple pages before I do some rave stuff, take a cleaning break, and then we'll come back to it. So let's just get into it. I've like looked at the back of this book a few times, but I really still don't know what it's about. Like, the son of a village shepherd believes his mother died giving birth to him. One of his few consolations is his enduring bond with the blind village midwife Ina, who suckled him when he was a baby. For some people, Ina's ability to receive transmissions of sacred knowledge from the natural world is a godsend. For others, her home in the woods is a godless place. The people's desperate need to believe that there are powers that be who have their best interests at heart is to put a cruel test by their depraved Lord and Governor, especially in this year of record drought and famine. But when fate brings Merrick into violent proximity to the Lord's family, new and occult forces arise to upset the old order. By the year's end, the veil between blindness and sight, life and death, and the natural world and the spirit will prove to be very thin indeed. Indeed. Oh, this is perfect timing. It starts with spring. And the bandits came again on Easter. It's perfect. It's perfect. Oh, this time they slaughtered 2 men, 3 women, and 2 small children. Ugh. I take it back. I was too excited for not reading the rest of that sentence. Okay, I am 10 pages in. Lapvona is a place. So that's cool. We figured that out pretty quick. And there's no chapters. I was kind of just flipping through. There's like decent sized like paragraph breaks. But I think because we started with spring, we're gonna have like seasonal sections versus like chapters, because I'm not seeing any chapters at all. Yeah. And then just a side note, this has nothing to do with the book itself, but it's like a very like soft and pliable book. It's just very like appealing to the hands to hold. I think I'm gonna end up liking this. Just like the way it's written, I can just already get a good feel for the tone, I think. He knew not to flinch, as that would show disgust and God would judge him. Instead, he bent down and kissed the bandit's head, then licked his lips to taste the salt of the man's sweat and the rancid oils caked into his reddish hair. The bandit winced and stuck out his tongue. Merrick curtsied and turned and walked away, feeling that the bandit's cries now were not in anguish or petulance, but in rapture of salvation, even if they sounded exactly the same. I don't know. It's just kind of funny. Merrick is 13. He's described as being disfigured and ugly, like a crooked spine, like his arm, like one hangs, one is like almost sounds contractured. The ugly face, like fucked up head, red hair, which is unusual, especially since his dad was brunette. Like we already learned his mom died. But I just think like the tone sounds just kind of like, not ominous, but like bleak. I'm gonna switch locations and just like, I don't know, see how far I can get. Damn, this is moving fast. Like page 15. And I feel like we already just get some like juicy details about like the town of Lapvona and what's happening. The book opens with bandits being, charged for their crimes. There's this guy, William, who like lives at the manor, like at the top of the hill or whatever. And the guards will like protect him when the bandits come. And we just learned that potentially the bandits are coming from command, like coming from the town owner. So, damn, Otessa, like, that's hardcore. It's also interesting, like, just the juxtaposition of, like, something really awful happening. It seems normal, like, the bandits and the murderers getting, like, hung and, like, gutted, disemboweled, like, in the town square. Like, Merrick's, like, closing his eyes and, like, doesn't want to see. And his dad, like, makes him look and is like, should we go pick flowers on the way home now that we're done watching this guy's intestines fall out of his body? And Merrick's like, yeah, I guess. That's so strange. Like, okay, try. I'm throwing together a quick lunch for my husband to go drop off. I may or may not have fallen asleep on the couch. Oops. Anyways, throwing together a quick lunch for him so I can drop that off. Hopefully leaving the house and moving will like perk me up or something. I need more caffeine or something. Like, oh my god. I don't know if it's the weather either. It's like kind of gloomy out. But whew, I have read almost 50 pages of the book. And wow, it is weird. So this book is weird for a lot of reasons. I mean, it's not a kind village from what I'm gathering. He's frequently abused by his father, who has lied about the death of his mother his entire life. Like, Merrick doesn't know this, but we as a reader know that he's lied. So like his dad beats him up all the time, and then Merrick is like enjoying like this weird, what the hell, oh my god. He almost like enjoys this weird dance him and his dad do, where like he angers his dad, he gets beat up, and then Merrick is like, yes, God will pity me more because I'm being beat the fuck up. That's the mindset of this kid. He visits the woman who was his wet nurse, Ina, and so we get her backstory, what happened to her, why she's blind. She did like nurse a lot of the babies in the community, but she still breastfeeds Merrick at 13, and she's not making milk anymore, but they still find comfort in that act, which is very strange. There's definitely like a larger conspiracy with Lapvona, the town, and the lord who like resides over it. There's a couple weird things I read where I'm like, huh, okay. So that's where I'm at. I also want to add, there's not just like the breastfeeding thing that's weird. Ina has him do other things, but like she almost like rationalizes it because like it's just at one time, and she like really loves the boy, so like she's not gonna abuse him like that, even though she thinks about it all the time. And I'm like, oh my god, this is icky. It's icky. And then there's also talk of abortion, essentially. His mom like visited Ina when she was pregnant to try to get rid of him, and that's why he's so disfigured. So yeah, just like a few content warnings even within the first 50 pages. But it is like strangely written well, like as disturbing as the content is and like how weird it feels to read. I am enjoying it. Question mark? No, I don't know. I've never read Otessa Mashveg before, so I kind of just want you to know what you could be getting into. We'll just see how my thoughts change as I make progress with the book. Good morning. Okie dokie. The fuck? I don't even know what to say. I made it to summer last night, so I'm 86 pages in. What are my thoughts? I don't know. I'm trying to think of ways to describe this book. I think I have to talk spoilers because I don't know how else to talk about this book. I think it'll be too vague if I'm just like alluding to things and like winking at you. I think that'll be kind of weird. Basically, like I said earlier, this starts with like bandits coming to the town, and the bandits like come every so often, you know, for food, and basically they hurt people, they take things, whatever, like they do bandit shit, right? And when they're caught, they're charged with their crimes, and then like town moves on. It sounds like this is a very isolated village. What I'm picturing is there's like this Lapvona with like the manor on a hill that like overlooks the town, and then like miles away there's like other towns, and they like trade together. And it sounds like Lapvona's close to a coast, so they have sea trade available as well. We open with the bandits, whatever. We very quickly learn that the guy who lives on this manor, William, not William, William with a V. My brain like doesn't want to say that. William is like the lord, and this manor has been in his family for years. He resides over it. He has a son named Jacob, and like if the town becomes too like vocal or rebellious, he sends the bandits in. Like the bandits are working for him. And it's funny because like we get Merrick's dad, Jude, his perspective, and he's like, you know, the guards at the manor, like they'll protect the manor, they never protect us. Like it, like almost he notices things, but like not really what's going on. So like you learn that very quickly. You're like, damn, like that's intense. Okay. Then we have the wet nurse, Ina, and we learn her backstory. So we do switch perspectives between the manor owner, William, Merrick, the shepherd boy, his dad, Jude, Ina, the wet nurse, who's now like an elderly woman. So she had lived in the village as a young girl. A sickness like swept through Lapvona. She was left blind as a result of it. Like most people died, but she was left blind. And people were like, the fuck? Like, why are you blind? You should be dead, you're a witch. So she essentially gets exiled, lives in the forest forever, remains blind until one day, like, she starts lactating. We don't know why. She just randomly starts lactating in her 40s after living like outside of civilization for so long. And then she comes back to the town and is a wet nurse. Like, people don't remember her. They just think she's this like old crazy lady who feeds babies. She actually had met Merrick's mother. So Merrick's mother's backstory is really fascinating too. So Jude, his dad, has told Merrick his whole life growing up that his mom died in childbirth. Like, right there, that's the blood, like, from when she died giving birth to you on our floor. Like, that's right there. Like, he points that out a lot, which is weird. Like, okay, can we clean this up? Like, it's been 13 years. Anyways, that's like what he's been told his entire life. Through Ina, we learn, and Jude, like, cause Jude's like, I'll never tell him. I'll never tell my son what really happened. We learn about Merrick's mom, Agata. Agata. She was from the bandit village in the West after being impregnated by her own bandit brother. When her father found out, he cut out her tongue and banished her as a whore. Cruel, yes. And what bad luck later to have been captured by Jude, an insatiable dog if there ever was one. So like, she runs from her village, finds Jude. I can't remember if the baby that Ina comes to Lapvona with, like, from the brothers raping her, like, I don't know if that is Merrick or if Merrick is truly Jude's son. I don't think he is. But Jude essentially like finds this woman tongueless and like creates this grand story about how he rescued her, he saved her, and now she's with child, like, but she died during childbirth. When the bitch actually ran away after giving birth, she was like, fucking see ya, because she was chained up in Jude's house. Like, she's like, peace out. So she went to like the church, the nunnery. So I'm wondering if like we haven't seen the last of her. I'm suspicious. So like we've learned all this backstory, which I just feel like is really juicy, really nuts. Everyone's a little crazy. Like Jude's inner monologue, like Merrick's dad, like he simultaneously loves and hates his kid so much. Like he fucking hates his own son, and it's really sad. Kind of the climax of spring is that Merrick was hanging out with William's son Jacob, and was like this really awful like thought process. Jacob has nice shoes, like God isn't gonna love him because he is not suffering. God supports the poor and impoverished and the suffering more. So like Jacob's not showing how devoted he is because he has these new boots. He's 14, of course he doesn't care, he just wants new boots. Like, but like Merrick, that is like, he has a very religious inner monologue and like interesting thoughts about God and like what he thinks will make God happy. He ends up like fucking pushing Jacob off a cliff. Jacob dies, and at first Merrick lies to his dad Jude. He fell, there was a bad storm, like blah blah blah, but like we need to go find him, can you help me? Because like a storm had swept in, and so Merrick had to like run home or get caught in this lightning storm. Jude and Merrick go out, but Jude thinks something is fishy about the whole thing. Like he doesn't think Merrick's being truthful. So he eventually gets the truth out of him, and Merrick's like, yeah, I pushed him, like he hit his head, I think he's dead. So they like find the boy, and Jude is like, well, we have to tell his father. Jude and William are like cousins. They're related somehow, but Jude's side of the family was like banished from the manor. So like he'll never inherit that piece of property. Jude like slungs Jacob over his shoulders and like carries this dead boy up to the manor. And William is weird. Like William is also so weird. Like the way he's described, he's like this skinny but like flabby, decrepit older man who like is a glutton. He just like eats whatever he wants. Like the town could be starving and he's just gonna keep eating. I forgot. He is so fucking weird. So he like wants people to entertain him all the time. So he has like travelers come from different towns and whatever. And one of the things he loves for them to do is impersonate him. So he wants to watch people impersonate himself. Like, I just picture this like this fucking maniacal maniac, like clapping and like, like giggling like a fucking freak at like people imitating him. But like, he seems so unstable that he'd just be like, Mike, go kill him. Like, that's like the vibe I'm getting from William. When Jude Merrick and like his son's body Jacob, when they all show up at the manor, William thinks it's a play. Like he thinks this is a joke. Like he's like, I see my wife here. Like I'm waiting for this person. Ooh, like are they gonna enter this scene later? Like that's how his like part is coming off, is like this is a play. All like these are all the characters that are here. Like ooh, like they dressed up my son like a doll. That's so funny. And his wife is like hysterical because like their kid's dead. But he's like, nah, this is a grand production. They are entertaining me so well. But I guess we could do an eye for an eye, so you can keep my son and I'll keep yours. And that's how it fucking ends. It's so weird. It's so weird. Reading about these people is just icky. Like, if you've read Verity, like, I think you'll understand like the ickiness to where like you're reading and it's kind of uncomfortable. Like to read these people, these really like not so great people's inner thoughts, and you're like, ooh. It has actually been quite enjoyable even with all this weirdness. So I'm going to catch up on some stuff. I made good progress yesterday, but I still have some cleaning to do. I have 3 dogs, so you know how like cleaning with dogs goes. I'm like, what can I leave to like the last minute? Because there's gonna be dog hair everywhere no matter what I do. And hopefully I will bang out a nice chunk of this. If I could like read this much today, that would be kind of nuts, but also awesome because I am really busy tomorrow. And that's the goal, is to finish this in 3 days. So wish me luck and I will see you later. I just like this part, and I think it just kind of sums up like the religion in Lapvona. Merrick is in William's manor, and he's like met the priest, Father Barnabas. So what Merrick couldn't tell yet was that the priest was a charlatan. Yes, Father Barnabas had been educated at the seminary, but poorly. He'd been a terrible student. He loved not the Christ, but himself and the thrill of keeping people in line. He liked wearing his habit, and he liked the preposterous authority that his position granted him. Since his assignment in Lapvona, he had not given any real sermons. He simply translated William's rule into language that sounded vaguely religious. If the Lapvonians had any sense, he thought, they would have noticed long ago that the bandits only raided the town when there were rumors of village hoarding foodstuffs after a plentiful harvest. They didn't understand that their crops were not taken as necessary taxes, but simply sold for the profit so that William could continue to live so well and rule them. The little gift of religion Barnabas allowed the villagers on Sundays, the church that gave out drops of wine and little oats for the Eucharist, was enough to fool them into accepting their poverty and enslavement. The priest had no sympathy for such stupid people, and yet he didn't see the hypocrisy of his disdain, as he was stupid too. The writing is really good, and it's even funny at times, even though like the content matter is like disturbing. Yeah, we're reading. I'm already feeling tired, so that's cool. Sometimes like, I don't know, I think it's the weather. It's just like gray out, and I'm like, it just makes me want to take a nap. I swear, like I'm not always so tired when I film, but that's just how you see me. Okay, back to it. I just made some lunch, but I don't know if I'll be able to eat and read at the same time because cannibals have entered the chat. Yes. In summer, a drought has just like, oh my god, like ruined everything and everybody. And yeah, I think we're gonna start eating some people. And William is so fucking weird. Oh my god. If you've read The Grape Scene, you know, that's so weird. Okay, I'll try to read a few more pages, but I might take a lunch break, take a cleaning break. I've got laundry going. Yeah, we'll try not to like gross ourselves out because I have really yummy Chinese leftovers, so I want to enjoy this food, not be fucking grossed out. I don't know if I'll do any like time lapses of me actually reading, because I think my face would just look like this the whole time, like a fucking constant scowl. Like, what the fuck am I reading? Like, But yes, we're gonna take a break and I will check in soon. I think, oh I'm on page 119, so I've read a nice 40 pages. It actually reads really fast, and I feel like even though like the prose I'd say is a little more on like maybe like the beautiful side or like the, I don't know, smart side. Like it's not, like it reads older than a young adult, and like definitely on like the literary side where like sometimes you have to think about what's being said. But at the same time, it also is reading very easy. Like I don't feel like I'm struggling to understand what's happening. But it is reading quite fast too, which is exciting. Like I like a book when it feels like you're making progress and you're not slogging. So yeah, so far so good. Hello, we're back. Update. I did not finish this in 3 days. I don't know what I was thinking. It's the Delulu for me. I could have, I was too busy. But I have finished summer. I finished summer. Another chunk done. Summer was so Merrick has been living in William's house, and we just get more weirdness from William. I mentioned the grape scene that is gonna, I think, live in my brain for a while, unfortunately. We get some scenes and perspectives from Lisbeth, who was Jacob's like girlfriend, but also servant. They're about the same age, like 14 or so, and she was like his maid. And they did have not a physical relationship, but there was something there. And so she hates Merrick. Like he's the reason like Jacob's gone. Merrick, when he essentially like moved in and took Jacob's place, his father, that's like, he's now calling William his father. William was like, pick a servant. You need a servant, my son. And he's like, how about Lisbeth? And she's like, the fuck? This fucking guy. She begrudgingly takes care of him. I mentioned the cannibals entered the chat. In Lapvona, there's been a drought. And ever since Merrick pushed Jacob and Jacob died, it hasn't rained. And it's like months have gone by, like crops are dead, animals are dying, like the river's dried up. I mean, things have just like gone to shit. William in the manor is fine because he's got a well, he's been collecting water, like he's taking baths and like everything's beautiful, but the town is suffering. We visit Jude in town, and he goes down to the river to try to get some water for like the one remaining sheep he has, and like sees a guy who like keels over, dies. And he's like, I need to grab this guy or they're gonna eat him. And so he like saves the guy, doesn't save the dog, rest in peace doggy, takes him back home. Or no, I think he flees to Ina's house and to check on her because he's like, maybe she has something, like we can save this guy even though he's dead. He just didn't want like the body desecrated. And then Ina's like, fucking like, feed me, like chop him up and feed me. And she fucking does. So I did not read while I was eating. I had to stop. It was too much. And that Chinese food is really good. But it just was too much at the same time. Ina eats Klim, I think was his name. Klim. She eats him. Jude is like equal parts horrified, but also like participating because like they're so hungry and like so thirsty. They're all delirious and insane. So he like takes what's left of Klim's body back home. He like ran off into the woods, or he was like out in the woods after dropping Klim off, and runs into Agatha, Merrick's mom, his ex-wife, who happened to like run from the nunnery. She fucking left. And so he runs into her and rapes her, and he thinks he's just having like the most realistic fever dream, and she's like, no, this is actually happening. Like, oh, Jesus Christ. It's just insane. So she then flees to the manor and seeks refuge there. And William and all his insanity is like, sing for us, like, yay, we have more entertainment. And she doesn't have a tongue, like, she can't really make words. While Jude was away from the home, Merrick decides to go into town and like see his dad. So he steals the priest's robes. Oh, that's why he ran. Okay, sorry. That's why he ran. So Merrick had stolen the priest's robes while the priest and William were taking a bath together. Steals the robes, he goes into town, he goes home, and he sees chopped up body parts in the house. And he's like, oh my God, my dad is dead. Merrick is like, my dad is dead. Okay, so then he goes back up to the manor. Merrick had taken a nap in the house. Like, I think he like walked in, he didn't notice it at first, but he had been taking a nap, so he's sleeping there. And Jude at one point had went back home, saw the priest, and was like, oh my God, like, God knows I've been eating people. The priest is here. I have to run. And so that's why he was in the woods. And then he ran into Agatha. Okay, I'm back. Anyways, he thinks his dad is dead. And then they just had a big dinner. And Merrick's like, I know this woman. I know this nun. Like, this is my mom. So what does he do? He goes to her room at night and suckles her breast. I cannot with all the breastfeeding. And it's not even breastfeeding. It's just gross. Titty sucking. It's disgusting. Because like that's your mom and you're 13. Like, but there's gotta be a cutoff. Otherwise it's just weird. Anyways. I was not expecting the cannibals, and like that was gross and exciting because like I think that's realistic. Oh, and also, I liked how William said it. Where was I? What was that? Dibra. D-I-B-R-A. These names are killing me. Dibra had been sleeping with Luca, and Luca is actually Jacob's dad, not William. But everyone just like accepts this affair and doesn't talk about it, and like doesn't talk about the fact that William isn't actually Jacob's dad. They all just like deal with it. So this whole section is talking about how like Dibra in her relationship with Luca. William doesn't care about fidelity, Dibra assured Luca. He just doesn't want to be publicly humiliated, so be careful. She had no idea that after 15 years, William had tired of the charade. She wouldn't believe it anyways. He was so childish and spoiled, nothing seemed to bother him but his own immediate needs and wants. Food, wine, entertainment, money. When Dibra learned that he was sending for the lullaby singer, she thought nothing of it. William, of course, had sent word ahead to the bandits. With Luca dead, he could continue to play the clueless fool, and Dibra would dance around to hide her agony. She would be stuck with it, and William would enjoy watching her play her own charade, masking her grief in what? Insanity? A mother's sorrow was tiresome, but a heartache? It would be a good show. So he orchestrates for Luca to leave the manor, only to get swarmed by bandits. When he doesn't come home, like back to the manor with a singer that he was allegedly like out to go get for hire, Dibra gets worried. So she also leaves the manor, takes a horse. Well, the horse comes back to the manor without her, and its eyes are gouged out. And William takes this as a sign from God. And he's like, this was loyalty. Like, the horse found its way home without sight. Like, forget Dibra. Like, her and Luca would get what they deserve. Like, this is something to celebrate. And just like that, thunder clapped in the sky, and it filled with black clouds. You see, William cried. He kissed the blind horse's snout again and trudged back up to the manor just in time to stay out of the rain. So now we've got some rain. It's interesting how, like, these people they're thinking that their actions are, like, causing weather changes. Like, God is displeased at XYZ, or he's happy with XYZ, so, like, that's why there's a drought, or that's why it's raining now. Like, no, it's a coincidence. Like, just fucking weather doing whatever it's gonna do. I have fall and winter left. To be continued. So I finished fall, and it's almost bedtime because I have to work tomorrow. But I just want to give a quick update about fall. So fall was pretty short compared to summer. Pretty short. I've got about 60 pages left, so I should be able to finish it. I don't know tomorrow because I'm pretty busy, but the next day maybe. But what happened? Oh yeah, we figured out where the horse's eyes went. So Ina, like, she was involved somehow. Like, she hasn't said how or like what she's done, but like she essentially like took out her own eyes and put the horse's eyes in, and then like at night she just takes out the horse's eyes because she doesn't need to see, and then like puts them in the morning. Like, logically that actually would never work, but apparently she can see, and then she just has like her original like backup eyeballs like on the mantle just in case she needs them. Like, you took the horse's eyes? Like, oh my god. She was visited by Father Barnabas, and like she's been doing like exams on the men, and then like telling all the women like how to, you know, be with child, and like they need to, you know, pray and blah blah blah. So she's like feeding into this like religious frenzy a little bit, and like encouraging babies, and like, here's all my magic and blah blah blah, like here's my powers. Like, the craziness, it just gets worse because Merrick's mom Agatha is staying at the manor, right? So William is like, I mean, I'm not a real man until I have a wife. Like, we gotta do something about that. And Father Barnabas is like, well, what about the nun? And they're like, she doesn't talk, that's perfect. And she's pregnant, right? So, like, if she's pregnant and a nun and she's intact, because, like, sure, she looks intact to me, then I could potentially be marrying, like, Mary, and we're gonna have, like, baby Jesus. Like, I'm gonna be the most powerful man because all these people are gonna come to town now. So, like, this is, like, the craziness that is going through, like, William and Father Barnabas's head. They're, like, working out this scheme and, like, kind of just idiots about, like, her being intact, even though, like, as a virgin, even though she literally gave birth to Mary. Like, he's like, that's my mom. And they're all just like, is it though? Like, oh, she's a virgin. We have Mother Mary in the house. It's so weird, but, like, they're all on board, and Merrick is mad. She doesn't love him. Like, she literally tried to, like, abort him, and that's, like, remember, that's why I said he's all messed up, because she had visited Ina and, like, wanted to terminate the pregnancy. And then she's also just like, this is evidence of, like, the rape that was done to me. Like, I don't love this child. And he's mad because he's like, well, like, I want to be loved. Like, what the hell's up with this new baby? That's not fair. But we learned that the bandits, like, who were killed at the very beginning of the book, that was her brother that raped her. And, like, he had come looking for her and she didn't know. I thought that was, like, a nice little, like, full circle moment there. And technically that was Merrick's dad. Like, he watched his actual biological dad be disemboweled and gutted and hung. So, like, but yeah, so there's, I don't even know. I think I'm rambling. I'm getting tired, but yeah, they just had the wedding with Agatha and William. Merrick was there. The priest and William are still having a gay love affair on their wedding, on the wedding night of, like, William and Agatha. He's, like, with the priest. And then this villager named Grigor, he was, like, suspicious of Ina and thought she was a witch. And the priest is like, well, go visit her. Like, she'll examine you. Like, one of those. She was, like, tickling their perineum. So he visits her. He suckles her breast. I swear to God. I cannot with the breast stuff. And then, like, she somehow knows that this is all false. Like, that William is in control of the bandits. Like, that he's, like, orchestrating all this stuff. Like, she shares with Grigor that, like, William had the water this whole time during the drought. There's so many, like, things that she knows that she's, like, told and, like, kind of let slip to Grigor, whatever. And he's now no longer mad at her, but he's mad at William and Father Barnabas. I am scared. I don't know how far along Agatha is. Because it sounded like she got pregnant at the nunnery. It hasn't been addressed really, like, who the father of the child is. Like, it's not William's. Like, they're half-ass convinced she's a virgin. And they're just, like, going with this big, like, ploy to, like, basically milk the townspeople more money. Like, we'll be super famous if we, like, give birth to, like, baby Jesus. It's not him. I don't think it's Jude, because, like, he had just raped her in the woods, like, recently. So it sounded like she's pregnant from the nunnery, but we don't know who that baby daddy is. And then at the wedding, Jude was there. So when Merrick had, like, found the chopped up body parts and, like, thought it was his dad, like, he buried the body, like, next to where he thought his mother was buried. And, like, he had been told, like, if you lay the dead to rest, like, they'll come back. Something about, like, the body will be gone if they've gone to heaven. And, like, if the devil has them, then the body will still be there, something like that. He sees his dad, Jude, in the crowd and is like, oh my God, like, my dad's alive. Like, he came back. Like, he basically, like, thinks Jude returned to the wedding to, like, interfere. Like, returned from the grave to interfere with the wedding. So I think something, like, I think it's going to get really messy. And hopefully we'll have a nice, insane ending. I will update you when I finish. Hello. I am just roasting in the greenhouse. I think I'm burning. Oh my gosh. And I just finished Lapvona. And I don't know if I liked it or not. It's been a couple days since I thought I was going to finish. I did not. So I had winter, and then we had a very, very short spring chapter to finish, and that was the end of the book. So they had like Christmas in Lapvona. William puts on a big feast, and he has like events and stuff that he's hosting. This guy, Grigor, him and his family are invited. They're kind of just like a minor role. He thinks he's like seen God and like knows the truth, and that he's like saved, and everyone is acting strange. He's kind of just like become weirdly like superior in a way. Lisbeth ends up working for William instead. So with this new baby about to be born by Agatha, Merrick's mom, William is like, I need to be serious. I can't be goofy. I have to like be on my A game, because he's convinced it's his son. Merrick's dad, Jude, thinks it's his, like he's the father because he had raped her in the forest. So I don't actually know who the father is. The way she left the nunnery, like I wasn't sure if maybe that something happened there. I could have just missed that part. I can't remember if we get an answer. Either way, she is with child. She does have her baby. Ina is taking care of her and the baby, and they're pretty much like secluded, locked up. They're trying to keep her safe because nothing can happen. And Merrick is like fucking pissed. He's not happy that his mom is having another baby, and he's not happy that like she's not paying him any attention. Like she wants nothing to do with him. He ends up spending a lot of time with William. William just like kind of continues to like descend into insanity. Like he was already insane, but with him trying to like be normal, then that like makes him like more crazy. Like his dinner party goes awry. People leave upset. His ex-wife, or like the wife who is missing and like died, who had left with the singer, her brother owns another town, and he had sent William a poisoned bottle of wine. And Father Barnabas has started to spiral because like William isn't being funny anymore. So Barnabas is like, the priest is taking this like personally, and then like their back and forth gets weird. So Barnabas had found the wine that was sent by Deborah's brother Ivan, and like offers it to Lisbeth after she turns him down for sex. And he's like, oh, well, good girl, I was just testing you. Like, now go to bed. Here's some wine. It was weird. So she is tucking in William for bed, and he's like distraught that people left, and they didn't think he was funny. He was being weird, and he was. So she's like, here's some wine to help you sleep. And it was poison wine. So there was a section in here that I really like. Perhaps it is most miraculous when God exacts justice, even when no human lifts a finger. Or perhaps it is simply fate. Everything seems reasonable in hindsight. Right or wrong, you will think what you need to think so you can get by. So find some reason here. By midnight, William had drunk half the bottle of wine, Ivan's gift of poison, and was now dead on the floor of his bedroom next to Lisbeth, who had died from only a drop on her tongue. So fragile was she, and so willing to leave this stupid life behind. The priest who had wandered into William's chambers, hoping to find some comfort in the Lord's arrogance, only to discover him dead, his mouth blackened with wine, his hand stretched out towards Lisbeth, who lay silently on the floor like a doll. I must be imagining things, he thought. Barnabas went back to his room and locked the door, determined to go to bed and wake up to a new bright day, the horror of his hallucination wiped by sleep. But there was a banging on his door. Mad with fear, he believed it was the devil, himself pounding with his fist, his vicious dogs panting right outside. So Barnabas hanged himself with his bedsheet thrown over the rafter. Better to take his own life than have it taken, he reasoned. It was not the devil, of course, but a draught from the hall that shook the door. Merrick told Petra to leave a window open while he slept. A warm wind was coming in from the south, and it carried with it a strange, wistful scent of violets. Oh, wait. No. Violets. What flowers were those? Oh, they were tansies. Are tansies violets? I don't know that answer. And I'm using my phone, so I can't look it up. If tansies are a type of violet, that's really funny and not funny. Okay, I'll get there. So Merrick, what happened? Oh, Grigor wants to like finally visit Ina because her and Agatha have been locked up. Like the Christ child hasn't been seen. Ivan, Deborah's brother, kind of like takes over the town. And because William is dead and Merrick was recognized as his son, Merrick is now the lord of the manor. And so he sees that Ina has stepped away from the baby and from his mom. So he's like, this is my chance. Like, I'm the lord of the manor now. I'm going to demand you to be my mom. So he goes in there and he smells flowers and there's all these tansies. Like, he's like, Mom? And she's literally like dead and decomposing, covered in tansies and tansy flowers. Are they a type of violet? I can't believe I didn't pick up on that. That was like sneaky sneak. It has to be. Yeah, so anyways, his mom is dead and he steals the baby and takes it into the woods. He takes it to Jacob's skeleton, the boy at the very beginning that he had pushed off the cliff and died. He takes it to his skeleton and is like, don't worry, like, this isn't the end. And it says, like, you will be so happy and free. It's much better up there. You'll see. So I wonder, at first I'm like, oh, they're gonna live in the woods as, like, fucking weirdos. But I'm wondering if he is, like, sacrificing and killing this baby to bring back Jacob. Oh, fuck. I don't know, like, I really liked this book. For as weird as it is, for all the content warnings as it had, like, all the different, like, fucked up things that are in this book. I actually really like the writing. I like the prose. It was actually quite funny at times. I think I still need to sit on it. The ending, like, while I thought some of those twists were good, they almost just fell flat. Like, they didn't feel like, oh shit, enough. Because some of the other things that happened in this book had me, like, freaking out. I was like, oh my god, this is insane. But my arm is so shaky. It just didn't feel like it, like, hit, and I wonder if because I took too many days off in between reading, like, I did not have much left. Like, I probably should have kept going. I think a 3.5 or 4. Like, I don't know. Because I liked it. I'll update you. I'll close this out and let you know what my final thoughts are. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. As you can tell, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I have now sat on it, marinated in the weirdness for a couple weeks now, and I liked it. It might be a 5-star. I don't know. I really liked it though. If you liked it too, let me know. If you didn't, let's discuss it. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Bye!